Well, since it's in the headlines, we're going to be talking a little bit about that Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
The Facebook, as they used to call it. So, and other social media companies, and whether you should be concerned about the data that they have been kind of getting from you. We're going to discuss that, as well as later in the show, we have some great cool gadgets, and we also have some other pertinent tech news that we'll be going over as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you're an Android user, right, Jim?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I found this interesting.
Okay.
Digging through, this is the first time ever in Apple's history that apps have actually decreased in number.
Really?
You know, Apple's been around for 10 years. I don't know if Android has done the same thing, if Google's done the same thing or not, but they actually went through the App Store last year and deleted a bunch of old apps.
Okay.
So things that aren't pertinent or whatever. So at the beginning of 2017, we had 2.2 million apps in the App Store in Apple's iOS, or in Apple's bank of apps, I guess you could say. And at the end of the year, we were at 2.1 million.
Well, you know, it'd be interesting to take a look at the examples of apps that did not hit the mark.
That would be interesting.
The ones that really flopped. Like, I'm sure there's some real Edsels out
Oh, there are. And it would be, I know we've done a couple shows in the past on unique apps.
Sure.
But yeah, it would be fun to actually go through and see the apps that didn't quite make the grade.
The ones that are, maybe we'll do for Thanksgiving this year. We'll do the turkeys.
There you go. That's a great idea.
We'll
do the turkeys. I love it. That's fantastic. So anyway, there's less apps to choose from. And I guess the other thing is that they stated is that there's actually the drive for making new apps isn't as strong as it used to be. So there aren't as many new apps being developed.
Do you think the novelty's wearing off on it? Or
I don't know if the novelty is. It's just that, it's hard to come up with kind of new ideas, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They just run out of new. Well, the easy ideas always come first.
Right.
And then it gets harder and harder to be original.
That doesn't mean that there's not going to be some groundbreaking thing that comes out again.
It'll just be harder to come up with.
Right. And the thing is that, a lot of the apps that we use now, they just continue to improve.
Right.
You think about a weather app that used to just give us the temperature outside and maybe the wind speed or whatever, and they just keep improving on themselves, to the point where they're very intuitive and give you current weather where you're at as opposed to where you are, to your home and that type of thing. So they just continue to improve. So it's probably not so much that we're going to get a lot of new apps in the future, is that the apps that we already use are just going to get better and better. So yeah, that's, I think, pretty cool. Alexa, I love to talk about Alexa.
Oh yeah.
So Alexa, you can now broadcast your voice to every Echo in the house.
Really?
So if you got an Amazon Alexa or an Amazon Echo, all you have to do is say, announce that. So Alexa, announce that the Tech Ranch is now playing on SuperTalk 1270.
Oh,
as everybody's Alexa that they're listening to the show right now is going off and repeating that across all the Alexas in the house.
Okay.
So that's all you have to do.
They love you for that, I'm sure.
I'm sure they do. So basically, if you want to call the kids to dinner and you got 4 or 5 of them in the house, so you don't know where the significant other is in the house, you can just say, Alexa, announce that, and it'll repeat across all of your devices, which I think is kind of clever.
Alexa, it's time for breakfast.
Right,
Everybody get in the kitchen for breakfast.
Right, it's kind of an intercom system, now. So, and I know I talk about this occasionally, the phone calling that you can use with your Echo or Alexa.
Yeah, we did that about a month ago.
We did, and that is an amazing thing. You sync your phone to your Echo you just basically sync it to your Alexa account, and after that, you can make phone calls with your Echo or Alexa and not even have to have the phone connected to it. So you can just call whoever you want to. And I think it's pretty amazing, and it's clear. It's like the best conference phone that I've ever used.
Right.
Pretty amazing. I'm just telling you. I think it's really amazing. So, wow, we're just zipping through these things, but we'll get to the Facebook thing in just a couple of minutes here.
Yeah, we have to. Did you see where Wozniak announced that he was dropping his Facebook account?
Yeah. So Steve Wozniak, one of the co-founders of Microsoft, there is a big movement right now to get away from Facebook. So
Facebook has not been cutting edge for a long time now. It's kind of a generational thing. A lot of the younger generations are not even on Facebook anymore.
I was surprised at this when I was looking into this a few days ago. I thought this number, give me a number, Jim. What do you think the percentage of people who use Facebook in this country are?
Percentage of people who use it?
Yes.
I would think it's pretty high. I would say it's over 50%. Let's say 55%.
I'm surprised that you say that. I was expecting you to say higher than that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. It's 68%.
Okay.
So 68% of the country uses Facebook.
I thought you were going to say it's gotten lower.
Well, it probably is.
Okay, it's probably lower than it was at one point.
Yeah. But it amazes me that there were actually 32% of the country that don't use Facebook.
I mean, it's very unusual to find anybody under a certain age who does not at least have a presence on Facebook.
Right. And I guess when I think about it, the seasoned citizens in our country, that 65 older group, aren't in a big rush. I mean, it's the fastest growing group on Facebook.
Well, some of them are. I mean, people. How do you count? How do you define seasoned citizen?
Well, I guess I'm just thinking people who are retired.
I mean, you and I are over 60 now. We're both over 60, right?
Well, close.
Kinda, sorta, yeah, in that neighborhood, 60-ish.
Yes,
but we're both on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not unusual. It's just that I know people who are older than I who basically don't use Facebook at all. Have never been on there. So people who are younger than I, pretty much everybody is. So I'm thinking that the biggest and the people who are retired in this country account for a large percentage of the population. Yeah. So that might be the place. I was just really surprised. I expected that number to be between 80 and 90%. I really did. So
I had no idea it was that high.
It is 68%.
Really?
So anyway, the Facebook thing is interesting because, and this is the thing I think people have to understand. If it's free, how are they monetizing it?
That's a good question. I've always wondered about the internet in general. It's a real tough thing to monetize.
It is.
On the internet.
If you have traffic, you can monetize it. And of course, Facebook is the number one website in the world.
It's like doing a talk show, and I'm not plugging any competition here, but there's maybe a handful of guys in the country who really make a good living at doing regular talk shows on the internet. I am not one of them.
Did you know, not to get off topic here, that there's a certain number of people that have to, in this country, that have to be in an occupation before it's actually listed as an occupation? And that number is 5,000.
Say that again.
Okay, so in order to be listed as a classification of an occupation in the United States,
like widget maker.
Yeah, right. Or, for labor statistics for U.S. Labor Department or whatever, right? You have to have a certain number of people employed by that occupation in order to be listed, okay? And that number is 5,000.
So if there's less than 5,000 people in the country making purple widgets that hum the theme from MASH,
that's correct.
Then you can't put that down.
It's not listed on there. So what do you think is the one occupation that comes in right at 5,000?
Right at 5,000.
5,001 at the latest count.
I was going to say blogger, but there's definitely a lot more bloggers than there are that. Not many that make a living at it, though.
Yes. I can't believe you're coming up with this because we were just talking about talk show hosts.
Talk show hosts.
There are 5,001 registered talk show hosts.
I can think of one or two off the top of my head. Well, there's Adam Carolla, who came out of a very solid radio background.
And he's now a podcaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom Likas had a live streaming show, which he's about to end. He's retiring. And he's right around our age. He's not that old, but he's made a ton of money, though, from a lot of different things. But he came from a radio background.
Right.
He came from a very solid background where he had a very big following on the radio that followed him over to the internet.
Well, I think if you're going to be a podcaster, you have to have a little novelty to get you there.
Yeah,
if you're
you have
make
to have
money
something to bring you.
Yes.
I mean, it's like when Howard Stern went to satellite. If he wasn't already Howard Stern,
that's correct.
He probably would have had to start from scratch.
That's correct. And that's difficult to do nowadays. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, there's a guy also, I want to mention Dan Carlin, who's a historian, who's a great storyteller. He has done well by the internet with his podcast.
That's great.
But like I say, that's just a handful of people that I could just think of off the top of my head. There aren't that many.
There really aren't, and in both venues, both in podcasting and in traditional radio. So yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, getting back to the Facebook piece, so when things are free, you have to figure out how they're going to monetize it.
Yeah,
I mean that's just how it is. You cannot have a website that's the #1 website in the world and not figure out a way to make money with it?
I would hope, yeah.
So that's what you have to look at that, right? I mean, it's like when you download apps, and we'll really dive into that after the break. But when you download an app too, I mean, if it's free, what do they want from you? How are they making money on it?
Yeah.
So you really, really have to think of that through. So after the break, we're really going to get into how this works and why some apps are free, some are for pay, and what makes the difference on these
What's
things.
the catch?
Exactly.
Currently, it's 24.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. SuperTalk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank all the people who follow us around the country, across the country and around the world.
Oh, yeah.
On the Blueberry Network, on the Tech Podcast Network. We're on iTunes, TuneIn, Roku, Apple TV. Of course, our own apps here, Radio Pup with Town Square Media, and the new SuperTalk 1270 app.
Yeah.
So all kinds of places you can catch the show live, or if you want to listen to it again, because a lot of times we throw a lot of information out here, so it doesn't hurt to listen to the show again.
Yeah.
So especially if you're driving, don't write things down while you're driving.
That's right. Don't write and drive.
That's right. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. So just know that the show will be out there in the wild if you want to listen to it a little bit later on.
In the air.
Exactly right.
In the ether somewhere.
We're talking about Facebook and all the other free stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
And what's going on with all this data, because Facebook's under fire right now, more than they've ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Wozniak actually supposedly dropped his Facebook
he did.
account.
It's actually trending on Twitter right now that he dropped his Facebook account.
Yeah.
He just said that it's brought him more negative than positive. So
Really?
he's just like, I'm just done with it. Not going to do it anymore. So it's interesting, but the thing is that you have to think about is how do these companies make money? Like I was talking before the break, if you download an app, you download a flashlight app, and then it's asking, hey, in order for the flashlight app to work, we want your contacts and we want your whatever. And you're like, why do they need that? Most people just click yes, 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 and go, right? Well, then they're harvesting all of this data from your phone, and of course they're going to sell that. That's how they make money on it. They're going to build an app.
There's a lot of lists going around with people's names on it.
It's just crazy what's going on, right? So Facebook, of course, has been doing this too for a long time. So I'm not surprised, or I'm surprised by the amount of people who are maybe a little ignorant to this fact. Like they're like, oh, they see some advertising going on Facebook or whatever. That helps the cost of it, but it's not enough. And I'm just telling you, you're now a writer on National Day Calendar as well.
That's
Thank you for that, and but there's no way, Jim, that we could pay you with the advertising revenue. Even though we're a huge website,
right?
We have some revenue that comes in from advertising, but it's not enough. It's just not enough to cover the costs. It probably covers the cost of our server and the bandwidth that we use and that type of thing, and that's significant. I mean, it really offsets the cost of that stuff, but in order to employ people, there's no way that it can handle it. Radio, on the other hand, does a much better job, and television does a much better job of, that advertising revenue is a big deal.
Well, of course, right now, radio is not doing so well in most places.
Right. But that model has worked for a long time as far as the advertising piece
I mean,
goes,
as soon as the two big giant mega corporations get their act together or sell out and declare bankruptcy, whatever they're going to do, then things will probably get better again.
And that's been pending for quite some time already, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've been dragging it out as long as they can.
It's amazing.
It can't last forever.
It's amazing that this whole industry is in trouble like that. But anyway, so Facebook has to make money. So what they do is they really go after your data, and they look at everything. I mean, absolutely everything. So we're just gonna start with on your phone. All right. So do you use Messenger on your phone?
Not very often. I have it. I don't use it that much.
All right, but you have it.
I have it.
All right. So if you have Messenger on your phone, so Arthur Emma Kennedy was surprised by what she found when she downloaded the trove of data Facebook had on her. You can actually dig into your phone or on Facebook and find the information they have about you. Now I'll check into this.
I'd like to find out more about that, definitely.
So anyway, she was talking about, I just looked at the data files. She requested them from Facebook, and they had every single phone number in my contacts. You have Messenger on your phone, they've harvested every phone number.
Every person I've ever called from my phone.
No, not even if you've called them, just if you have them in your contact list, right? They had every single social event I went to, a list of all my friends and their birthdays, and a list of every text I have ever sent. All because you have Messenger on your phone. So what they're looking for is who you are. You're a white male, 50 to 60.
That's about right.
Likes to go out and have a beer.
Sometimes.
I mean, this is the stuff that they're harvesting about you, right?
Okay.
I mean, because you send me a text, hey, Marlo, let's go have a beer tonight. Yeah. All right, Jim, let's go do that.
Let's go out for a steak or whatever.
And the next time you show up on Facebook, guess what kind of ads we're looking at? We're looking at Coors Light and all this other stuff. I mean, because we mentioned it in a text someplace.
Yeah.
This is how it works, everybody. And then they sell that information to Coors, saying, hey, Jim mentioned that he likes Coors. Or maybe he mentioned that he doesn't like Coors.
Yeah.
And maybe, because there's too many calories in that beer, or it's bitter. Or, I mean, that's what they're going after. They're trying to find out, and if there's 10,000 people out there that say, that beer that I'm drinking just is a little bitter, they'll sell that to Coors or whoever it is, right? And Coors will maybe change up a recipe or whatever it is. This is the play that they're all after. It's all about gathering that data so they can sell it to other companies and make money from that. So don't be surprised as we, and I know it's all about the political stuff right now and how much Facebook, was used to influence the last election.
That's where it gets a little creepy, or it gets a little.
Well, it's weird because generally the people who run Facebook are very left-leaning, but yet they're all in a tizzy because the right-leaning side figured it out or whatever, right? It's not that both of them used it, Jim. Every political party out there uses every social media play that they can figure out, and if they can gain the system a little bit, they're going to do that.
Yeah,
everybody's guilty of this. So it's just interesting though that it's making big news now when it's been this way for 10 years already. I mean, you could say that the last 3 presidential elections, Facebook had significant. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, but
influence maybe.
I wouldn't say influence, but whoever was better at the Facebook game probably could state that was the defining piece that won the election for them. Okay. I'm going back. Facebook's only been around for the last 3 presidential elections, but they've had influence in the last 3. They have, and whoever played that game the best. I mean, you could make the case that that's the reason why the last 3 presidential, how they were swayed one way, because the country is so divided right now. I mean, it's almost like a 50-50 thing down the middle, right?
It is.
So they use this data from Facebook, and they go right after they have figured out who really isn't decided yet, and then that's who they target, because you'll post something saying, who do you want? Jim, are you more interested in Hillary or in Trump? And you'll come back and tell me this. So they know that I'm undecided by saying this, right?
Okay, yeah.
So then they're able to target me because of that. This is, this is not conspiracy here, everybody. This is exactly what goes on. Everything you've ever typed into Twitter and everything you've ever typed into Facebook, they've been tracking all of this stuff.
Well, there's no cloak and dagger in the sense that we know they're doing it.
That's correct.
Okay.
If you read the EULA, the end user licensing agreement, when you sign up for Facebook, they tell you they're doing all of this stuff.
But who does?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Almost nobody ever reads any of this stuff. But again,
I don't.
You shouldn't be. I know everybody's like shocked and surprised, and this is making big news now.
Yeah.
But again, how does Facebook make money? You have to look at that. They're not selling a product. You and I are the product.
Yeah.
We really are.
We're the ones being sold.
It's not an Amazon where they can sell us, gadgets and all this other stuff. You and I are the product of a social media thing. I mean, and they have to figure out ways to make money with us, because they're not selling us. They're not selling products to us. They may help other companies sell products, but I've never seen. Have you ever seen anybody wearing a Facebook T-shirt?
No.
I'm just saying, it really is about us, and it's about the data collection. So
now, is there a way to opt out of all that?
I believe there are some ways, but this is the thing. And I've downloaded apps before and say, I don't want you to take my contact. I mean, it'll say right on there, do you? Is it okay for us to take your contacts information, or whatever? And I know Larry and I've had a lot of discussions about this in the past, right? And you can say no, and and the app will say, oh, okay. Sure. We're not going to allow you to use our app anymore.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
That's right. Too bad. If we can't get your contacts, we're not going to let you use the app either. So anyway, after the break, everybody, we have other news to talk about besides Facebook. Come on back.
Currently, it's 24.
On Twitter, Facebook, online, and YouTube. SuperTalk1270.com.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at SuperTalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And at the other microphone, Jim Walsh.
Hello.
Producer extraordinaire, running the board and all that good stuff to make sure that this show sounds great as usual. So, Jim, I'm really excited about this next technology. We talk about it occasionally, but I just can't wait to step into a tube and step into a pod and get shot across the country in a tube at 700 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so excited about that. Actually, I am, but that is basically what the Hyperloop is, isn't it?
Now, it's on a rail, right?
Well, it's actually not on a rail.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's in a tube.
Rail. In a tube.
The best way to describe it is when you go to the bank to drive up teller and you put your money in the tube and it shoots it over to the teller inside.
Basically, it's going to be a real big version of the thing you put the money in.
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, it's kind of a pneumatic air thing.
It's It's like So they take it down to 1/10 atmosphere, so it's not a total vacuum.
Yeah.
But they take it enough of it out so that it creates basically a pretty frictionless environment, and they shoot you through this tube. So if you think this is a dream, it is not.
Okay.
So
how soon?
Well,
how soon before we can go to Seattle, whatever, for the weekend?
Well, they have to build it, of course, first.
Right.
They're just testing right now. But so Virgin's Hyperloop 1 set a speed record in December. The pod hit 240 miles an hour.
Okay.
You have to understand that the test is only 1,600 feet long.
Oh, okay.
So for them to get to 240 miles an hour and 1,600 feet is pretty extraordinary.
That won't even get me to the McDonald's down the street here.
That's amazing when you think about that, how fast it could go. And and this is so then Elon Musk came out yesterday and stated that he's going to break the next record. He thinks he can get to 383 miles an hour. The challenge is that the tube isn't long enough. Mm-hmm. So they're concerned that it's going to be just a shredded piece of metal when it comes out the other end because it can't slow down fast enough.
I see.
So they're going to have to extend the testing tube. But amazing that in 1,600 feet they can get 200. So they talk a lot about the 700 mile per hour thing. There are some people that talk that it could even be up to 2,000 miles an hour if you got a long enough tube that you can get to those speeds.
Okay.
So, and it's actually coming along pretty quickly. I'm going to guess that by the year 2030, that we're going to have Hyperloops at least starting to appear at strategic places across the country. So, I know that Cleveland to Chicago space, there's a lot of talk about that space. Of course, the LA to Vegas thing is talked about a lot. I drive that road all the time, and they need it. That is a terrible road to drive, and having something that would move you along a lot faster. Because I've driven that road. It's 260 miles, and it's taken me 12 or 13 hours a lot of times to drive that. So it's terrible for an interstate. But so they need to do some things, and this is a very economical way to move people and goods.
Yeah.
There will be the day that you'll be, the possibility here in North Dakota, if we had a Hyperloop coming here, that you could have lobster caught in Maine that was just caught this morning.
Yeah.
And just in here this afternoon for lunch, So
I love it.
It's pretty amazing what's going to be happening with this thing. So I would certainly, if you're going to invest in something, I don't know if it's too early to invest in the Hyperloop.
I was going to say, will we be young enough to enjoy all these things?
I think so.
Okay.
I think you and I, if we can hang on for another 10 years, Jim, you and I will be able to actually hop on a Hyperloop and do that. And and of course, I get I'm privy to a lot of this kind of stuff anyway. I might be able to hop on a test sometime in the next couple of years.
Okay.
Maybe not go across the country, but maybe go a couple miles in one, or something.
Yeah.
So I sat in one at CES a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
They had one of the pods there. It held 8 people. It's just this pod that holds 8 people, and then when they're ready to go, and that's the thing about a Hyperloop, right? You'll never have to wait for the train to show up. You'll never have to wait for the plane to show up and all that stuff that you have to go through to get on the plane or whatever. A Hyperloop is basically 8 or 12 people, and there'll be pods that run continuously. So when the pod shows up, you just hop in the pod and then go.
Kind of like a much faster version of the metro train thing at the airport.
Exactly.
At a bigger airport.
Yeah, it's like a subway system, except that you're going to be going a lot greater distances, and you just won't have to wait that long for the next one to show up. So it's pretty cool. So keep your eyes open for that. Speaking of transportation too, so this is interesting. California proposes new rules for self-driving cars to pick up passengers. So did you hear about the pedestrian that was killed a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
All right. So a pedestrian pushing a bike across a road in the dark. The Uber that was, and there was a person behind the wheel. There's, supposed to be somebody behind the wheel that's supposed to be monitoring what's going on.
To grab the wheel if there's a problem.
Right. But the car didn't even slow down.
So
for whatever reason, didn't even see this person walking. Regardless if, she was obviously crossing illegally. We all do this.
But still.
But, if I see somebody crossing the middle of the road on the interstate, I'm probably going to slow down. That's just what we do, right?
Jaywalking, but you don't deserve to be killed for jaywalking.
Right. So, they're still investigating the crash and figuring out what went wrong there. But what's interesting about this is that the new rule in California, don't have to have a driver.
Oh.
Don't have to have anybody behind the driving wheel. So they're going to actually issue an autonomous vehicle pass, like a driver's license or a vehicle license, right? You have to wait 90 days after you get this, and then you can actually start, and it's just for ride sharing.
Yeah.
But then your ride sharing service can start picking up people without having a driver in it. Very interesting.
So California, is it California one of those states where, as a rule, they're ahead of the curve on all this stuff?
Not generally. Well, yes and no, right? Because of course, California is the home of Silicon Valley.
Right.
So you have that going on, but California, of course, is also very heavily regulated.
It is.
So it is interesting that, and the reason that Uber is testing in the Phoenix area right now is because Uber wanted to start using autonomous vehicles for ride sharing, and California said, no, we're not going to lie to do that here. And then within a day, I guess the Arizona governor called Uber and said, you can test them over here. So they just went over there.
What about Texas? Are they doing any of it? Because Texas is always promoting itself as the great laissez-faire atmosphere for business to come in and do all kinds of things.
So I'm not sure how much testing is going on in Texas right now. I think, the testing that's going on is in pretty stable weather environments. Is the best way to say that. So they're
Texas is not necessarily the most stable place weather for
it's
climate.
not. It'd be like testing here right now.
Yeah.
Of course we're after that because we think you should be testing in all weather. But they also want to move the technology forward, so they're picking these places that they feel that weather isn't as impactful. So so that's why Phoenix, that's why Los Angeles, those type of places. So but yeah, it's interesting that you're probably going to be able to, probably within a year, if this goes through, you can be in LA and you'll get picked up by an Uber or a Lyft, and there will not be a driver in the car.
Whoa.
That's pretty amazing.
Now back to the Hyperloop for a minute. Will this be above ground? The Hyperloop?
Yes.
Okay.
It is above ground. So,
which poses some obvious challenges there.
Well, yes and no. There's obviously challenges, but the cost of it, though, they estimate that when they really get this going, it's going to cost about $1 million a mile to put together. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but that's about what we pay for roads nowadays. To build a road is $1 million a mile, right?
I mean, you think of what they did, the way they built an interstate highway system,
right.
and it took years. It took a good 30, 40 years to do it, to get it all the way across the country, but they did it.
Yep.
You know, from the day that Eisenhower signed off on it back in the 50s.
Right.
You know, by the late 1980s, we pretty well had the entire country covered with the interstate super slab.
That's correct. That's correct. So this would probably go a little faster.
Okay.
You know, than
because of technology. Yeah.
Well, technology, and you know, you're not having to smooth ground and tunnel through things and all this other stuff. Although,
that's the other question. You know, where are you going to put it?
Well, I think you know if it's done right.
Yeah.
You know, I think the interstate system is interesting. Most of it is.
You mean alongside the interstate,
or through the middle,
or what about alongside railroads?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're already there.
The right-of-ways are already there, and that's the thing. I think you're going to find places where they're just going to work with the current right-of-way structure. There's no reason that you couldn't put them in the ditches on the interstate system, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of places that it could go.
Yeah, maybe have like two slabs of the interstate, and right between that would be the the Hyperloop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think there's a lot of places that can go without having to cause a lot of things. The other thing that Elon Musk has done is he actually has what's called the Boring Company.
The Boring Company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you heard of this company?
The Boring Company.
It's kind of funny, right?
Let's talk about bridges. Okay.
But the Boring Company it actually bores.
Gotcha.
He's got a huge machine that bores tunnels underground.
Yeah. It's a real bore, man.
Yeah. I just love the name, the Boring Company.
Yeah.
But he's got one of the bores that he's using actually is talked about that they'll go through like mountains and whatever.
Sure.
Using this machine to expedite the development of the Hyperloop.
Well, like you say, the good thing is that there's already a certain amount of infrastructure that's already out there.
Yeah.
You know, where they put down railroad tracks and roads and whatnot.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it seems to me logical that they would take advantage of what's already there.
I would guess so. You know, I would imagine that there might be some land plays here and there, but for the most part, current infrastructure, current right-of-ways are going to be utilized. So, yeah, after the break, everybody, we have some cool gadgets that we want to talk about. So we'll get into that.
Right now, it's 25.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on SuperTalk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
So, of course, we've been having a little weather.
Yeah.
I guess we always have weather, don't we, Jim?
But, we always have some kind of weather.
Right. But,
I mean, on the moon, they don't have weather, but here we do.
But I should say winter. Winter just has not let up its grip on us.
Yeah.
And
3 to 5 inches this past weekend.
Yeah, and we got another something coming at us here in a couple more days. It's
that's what they're saying.
Kind of amazing, though, that our average highs here should be in the mid-50s right now. And I know we got a little warm-up coming up, but the warm-up still doesn't get us to what our normal average is.
I know.
It's really something. But the reason I'm bringing it up is that, we're going to get into some gadgets. And I've talked about these occasionally over the last couple of years, but heads-up displays. So have you ever been in a situation, Jim, where you can't see the road in front of you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So a heads-up display will generally allow you to, if you have the right one, will actually paint the road in front of you on the windshield. So you can see if there's a turn coming up in front of you, if you need to be stopping for a stoplight or a stop sign and that type of thing. So heads-up display, or HUD for short, right? Yeah. And some of the newer cars, of course, have heads-up displays in them. But you can actually take your smartphone and create a heads-up display.
How does it work? Is it like radar or what?
So you grab the app, and you lay the phone, on the dash of your car.
Okay, I'm grabbing, I'm putting the phone, I would put it there on the dashboard.
Yep. Okay. And then it actually reflects that image that's on there into the windshield. Yeah. And I'm sure you've probably seen this before. Sometimes I'll accidentally leave a piece of paper on the dashboard, right?
Yes.
And then you have to move it after a while because you can't even see through the window because of the reflection, right? That's exactly what it does, right? Well, there's a device called HUD, HUDDY.
Okay.
That takes and makes it an even better experience for both day and nighttime driving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a device that you put up on your dash.
Right.
You put your phone into the dash. You plug your phone into this thing called the Huddy, and then with the app,
right,
it actually has a projector built into this thing.
Right.
And it projects onto your windshield or the screen that comes with it as well. So you have either way, and it's only like $30. So if you want something like this, and I really talk about this a lot, especially for people who have hard time driving at night, who maybe have a hard time driving during inclement weather. Those type of things, and it'll actually, what it really does, it maps out the road in front of you. So you can see that if you have a turn coming up, I mean, there's nothing worse than if you're driving on the interstate and you don't know where the road's going to go in front of you, or wherever.
I was driving, one time I was driving in West Virginia, and there was a massive fog, because it's a mountainous area.
Fog is perfect for
this. We were going through this big fog, and at one point, this big old semi, I mean, everybody was crawling along, because we could only see like a few feet, literally, in front of us. And this big old semi came up behind him, and he was crawling too, but I'm thinking if he'd been going a little faster, he'd have gone right into us without ever seeing us.
And that happens all the time.
It does.
Happens all the time. So yeah, I would highly recommend, it's called Huddy, HUDDY. Okay. I've actually ordered a couple of these, so I'm anxious to try them out myself.
I would imagine the truckers are using them already.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that they are. So heads-up display. And if you don't want to order one, you can just go into the App Store on your device and look for a heads-up display. There's some good ones out there. There's some that are not so good. Some of them are free. Remember what we were just talking about with the free stuff? Some of them
nothing is free, but yeah.
Right. So sometimes this is a situation where maybe you want to pay a couple dollars for the heads-up display, and then you just lay your phone up on the dashboard, and you can see into your windshield as well. Sure. So a couple different ways you can do that. So another, driving glasses. Those are always a popular thing to talk about, of course. But this particular set is called the Night Guide HD. Night Guide HD, driving glasses. And I know I printed out some stuff. It's this one right here, Jim.
Oh, okay.
Looks got that bridge out. Turn that page over you're on right now.
Oh, this one here.
Yep. Turn it over.
Oh, it's two-sided pages. Yep. What a concept.
I know. Our printer is getting smart now and prints on both sides. So
excellent.
It's got actually a sample there of what it looks like at nighttime, looking through the glasses, and then without. And there's just something about the way the glasses handle the. It's like using high-def television with these glasses at nighttime. So if you have a problem seeing at night again while you're driving, these are pretty cool. Again, they are the Night Guide HD driving glasses, so pretty cool stuff.
Voted the #1 solution for safe driving in the evening at night.
Yeah. This is, and I don't know about you, but there are sometimes, especially if you're a little tired, I always have a hard time driving at night too. So.
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem at night in general, anyway, because people are usually tired when they're out at night.
Right, exactly. This one I find very, very fascinating. It's called Key Smart.
Key Smart. Okay.
And it's not that the technology of using keys has changed. That's what I thought right away when I was reading about this, the Key Smart. Maybe there was just one key that'll open everything up that you have, right? It's not about that. It's about changing the key fob that you use, right? So generally, even in the keys I have in my pocket right now, I don't have a lot anymore, but I have like 4 or 5 on there, right?
Yeah, I got a few.
Yeah, and they dig holes in your pockets and all this other
and you
stuff,
lose
right?
them.
Right, exactly right. So this example here, Jim, is the exact same amount of keys with both of them.
Okay. On the one hand, you see a thing of keys, and it fills up the hand. On the other, it has this little device here. It almost looks like a flash drive.
Yes, that's exactly
what it
looks like.
And it has all your keys on that.
Right.
Or your fob, whatever.
So what it does is it's almost between a USB flash drive and a Swiss Army knife, I guess is the best way to say this, right? Your keys are actually on this device that you would take a knife out of a Swiss Army knife, right? Yeah. This is how your keys now work. It just swivels out. You have the one key that you need. You put it back in. It's very, very clever. It's very clever.
So it's like a skeleton key, but it's electronic.
Well, all the keys are on there, Jim.
Oh, they are there?
All 14 of those keys that you see on the other person's hand are actually in the palm of this other person's hand.
Okay, but you can't see them at all.
Right, it's because it's like a Swiss Army. It's like a pocket knife,
Right, okay.
that they just, the blade swivels in and out of the pocket knife. Your keys swivel in and out of this thing too. You just put your keys in there and then they just come back out. So it's not that you're replacing the keys.
Yeah.
You're just containing them better, I guess is the best way to say
Okay.
it. So I would imagine sometime in the future there'll be some type of one key fits all type of deal. you know?
I'm sure they're working on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then we only have one big key to lose, and then we can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm really on this transportation thing today. There's another thing called a new wiper. It's an unlimited wiper blade renewing system. So I have a brand new car, and it amazes me. I have 6,000 miles. I guess it's not brand new, but I have 6,000 miles on it now, right? And I'm amazed that my wipers suck.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've used them a lot lately, but it's like there are spots on the windshield that they don't work anymore or whatever. Mm-hmm. This device, it's an unlimited wiper blade renewing. So what it does is you run this device over your blades, and it resharpens them.
Okay.
And makes them just like new again. So it works on all kinds of wiper blades and can be used over and over again on any car that you need it. The device itself is compact to fit in your glove compartment, and the price is low enough that it actually costs less for the new wiper system than it does to buy nicer blades for your car. And then you can just, and the thing is, and the only time your blades are bad is when the weather's bad.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot to get my blades replaced again.
It's like fixing your roof. Well, I don't have to. It's not.
That's
I don't
exactly
know where
right.
It's leaking.
That's
it's not
exactly
raining.
right.
I can only fix it when it's raining, and I don't want to go out there when it's raining.
So I think it's clever. It's called New Wiper, Nuwiper, New Wiper. And I know it's not techie, but it can keep you safe while you're out there.
It's techie enough. Hey, there was a time when the paper clip was high tech.
That's exactly right.
Everything is high tech everything's new if you don't have it.
This one I had to look up. It's called the Glow Bowl.
Okay.
And I'll show you a picture of it.
Sounds like a mouthful. Okay.
I seen this in one of the hotels I just stayed in recently.
The old WC.
This is actually a toilet bowl.
A turlet.
That has basically a nightlight in it.
Yeah.
So when you get up at night,
so you can see where you're
going. That's right. Yeah. I thought it was pretty clever.
And go where you're seeing. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's 13 vibrant LED colors. So, if you want to decorate for the holidays, you can change the color of your toilet bowls.
Okay.
I know my office thinks I have a fetish on light right now, or light bulbs. I probably do. I order all kinds of crazy ones all the time. But I think it's clever.
Sure.
So yeah. Let's see. Any other cool things on here? Oh, the mobile screen cast.
Okay.
So these are devices that you can plug into your TVs. And I just ordered a bunch of these for about $15 a piece. Plugs in your DVI or your HDMI on your TV, and then it broadcasts wirelessly from your computer or your phone right to your television. It's pretty clever. So, and that's it. We're out of time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim, again.
Thank you, sir.
Always a great time with you, and I guess we'll be doing this again next week.
All right.
Have a great week, everybody.
You've been listening to The Tech Ranch, live and local on SuperTalk 1270. Keep ahead of the trends.
Tune in every Monday morning at 11 a.m. for The Tech Ranch.
Exclusively here on SuperTalk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.